Well, hello everybody. Jeff Cowan here from Jeff Cowan's Pro Talk, the place that's trained more successful service advisors than any other place on the planet. I'll guarantee that. Hey, I'm back with a new edition of my podcast entitled Right Service, Write Your Own Paycheck, the path to making over $100,000 a year when writing service in the automotive industry in the United States of America, Canada, and or Australia. And you know, at this very recording, about 20% or just over 20% actually of you that are doing that job are making over $100,000 a year. But that means, like I always like to say, that almost 80% of you are not. And that doesn't make sense to me. So what are we going to do about that? Well, I recommend you do what I always recommend. Watch this podcast. Learn from it. Go back and watch all my other podcasts. Go to automotiveservicetraining.com. Again, automotiveservicetraining.com. That's my website. When you get there, you'll find the techniques, the processes, the word tracks, and everything else that you need to become the absolute best service advisor on the planet. And I think when you get there, you will love it. Well, I'm back, like I said, here with a new edition of my podcast. And I want to tell you what brings this topic on is this. I recently went out to get my car, get a repair done on it and some things checked out on it. And within 3 days of that, I took my dog, my best friend Zoe, to the vet. Now, these two scenarios you're going to see are very, very similar. In one situation, I got off the chart world-class service, and in the other one, I got service that was embarrassing. And guess who did the best job? Well, who did the best job was the vet. I mean, I got and continue to get bad service for my car. Unfortunately, I live in an area that seems to be underserved for the type of cars that I drive, and so it's very hard finding a car dealership that gives great service. Now, if you're watching this and you don't work at a car dealership, don't sign off yet. Say, hey, wait a minute, I always talk about car dealership stuff, it didn't involve me. If you're working at an independent, a chain store, or something like that, by listening to this podcast today, you're going to find out how easy it is to beat the people at the car dealerships. Now, I have no beef with car dealerships, okay? But if you're watching this and you work at one, you're going to see what the marketplace is like and how easy it is for you to stand out in your community. Because what I'm getting ready to describe here, after 35 years, I can tell you right now at this recording, at least 80% of the car dealerships out there delivering this type of bad service or something very close to being this bad. I mean, it's insane to me. I don't know why this happens. But here's what happened. You know, I recently wrote an article about this call, and the title of it was, My Dog Gets Better Service Than My Vehicle. So let's take a look at this. Like I said, I need to take my vehicle in because it needed to be repaired. Now, here's what you have to understand. I do not go into these places and announce myself as, hey, I'm Jeff Cowan and I've trained more successful service advisors than anybody else and I need to see great service. I, like you, when I'm off work, the last thing I want to talk about is work. So I never bring it up. As a matter of fact, the dealership that I've been going to for over 10 years, as a matter of fact, there's been two of them, that I've gone to the last 10 years, don't even know what I do because they've never asked. That's how bad these places are. They're like a morgue, you know. I guess maybe they think at these places I go to that people like morgues. I don't know. All right, but I'm telling you, about over 80% of the car dealerships out there are doing just about this poor job. And all you have to do is look at the numbers to see. So I was taking my vehicle in, and then within a few days that I need to take my best friend in, like I said, my dog, in for some work too. So let's take a look at what this process looked like. So the first step in any one of those situations is schedule the appointment, right? So although I got online to the vet, and they offered online reservations, they clearly stated that if you bring your dog in for something beyond the normal stuff like, you know, vaccinations and worming and you know, baths and stuff like that, you might want to give them a call so they can more accurately describe what you're going to be in for and what it's going to involve if you bring the dog in. So or bring your pet in. So since I knew I was taking her in for some teeth problems, and I was pretty sure that they were going to pull a tooth, I decided to call in. When I called in, I was greeted with somebody that was warm, they were quick on the phone, they acted like they cared, and the like. As a matter of fact, they thanked me for calling them and said they were excited to see Zoe. They were sorry that she was having problems, but they were glad I was going to bring her in, and what was I bringing her in for? So I went down the list of what I was bringing her in for, the things I'd seen, and as I was doing that, they were making me feel comfortable. Oh, that's too bad. We feel, oh, we hate that for her. And in between that, they were building rapport. What, have you taken your dog walks? I heard, you know, last time you came in, you were going on vacation. Did you take Zoe with you? And they were building rapport. Now, what that did when they did that, as they asked these questions, it made me feel like they cared. They made me feel like they were excited I was coming in. They gave me confidence knowing that I was going to a place that was truly professional. Once they got done asking what I was coming in for, the young lady on the phone, the vet assistant, she took her time, went back over what we talked about, so we missed nothing. At the end of that, she told me what to prepare for. She said, I believe your dog is going to be here all day long. What'll happen is when you check in at 8 o'clock, you'll be in and out of here in 15 minutes. We'll take the dog, and within a few hours, we'll give you a call after we examine her and tell you what we need to do. Depending on what you say you want to do, we'll determine when you can get her back, but I would plan on it taking all day long. Again, by the time I hung up the phone, I felt like they cared. I felt like they were professional. I liked how they built rapport. They give me confidence, and that whole phone call only took 7 minutes. Okay? Now, the car. I tried to call in to the place I was going to because I knew I was taking it in for something that was a little bit odd. I had a tire that had a nail in it and I needed to get the tire plugged. So I wanted to call and talk to somebody about it, and plus a check engine light coming on. I called in 3 different times and could never get anybody on the phone beyond the receptionist to pick it up. So I went online. When I went online, what happened was I followed the format that they wanted me to follow, but I was never really able to explain what I was coming in for. Okay, so I had to speak in very general terms. After I put everything in that I was coming in for, it asked if I was going to need a loaner car. I said I probably would, and it said depending on what was needed for the vehicle would determine whether or not I got a loaner car. So I didn't even know if I was going to get one. So by the time I got offline, I didn't know if I needed to get a ride home. I didn't know if they were going to give me a ride home, if I was going to get a loaner car, because it was very, very vague. I also, when in doing it online, since I didn't get to talk to anybody, there was no emotional tie made to this dealership. Because there's no rapport, there's no nothing. I was just simply told to be there at a given time and they'd get me taken care of. Now, total time of getting my appointment online was 5 minutes. Okay, so I really didn't save, in my mind, that much time. So again, tried to tell them I was bringing my car in to get a tire plugged and all that stuff, and that's kind of what I got. So it was very impersonal. Let's talk about the check-in. When I took Zoe into the vet, it was exactly what I thought was going to happen because they told me what was going to happen. I walked in the door, they greeted me, they asked me to have a seat, which they told me they would do. I sat there for a few minutes before I walked over to the cashier. The cashier again went over everything, or the vet assistant, I'm sorry, went over everything that I was bringing Zoe in for. Asked if I had any questions, asked me to sit down again with Zoe for a few minutes until the vet tech came out. The tech came out, took Zoe out of my hands and said, again, we're going to go over real quick, you're bringing her in for this, that, and the other. And I said, yes, we confirmed all that stuff. They built a little rapport, both when I first talked to the person that checked me in and then the vet assistant. We built a little rapport, again, about some of the vacations and things I'd been doing. They told me not to worry about it. Zoe was going to be fine. They'd get her checked out, and they'd call me probably within 3 hours not to worry about it. Now, that total time was under the 15 minutes they told me to be when I called in. But when I walked out of there after dropping Zoe off, my pet, my best friend in the world, I felt even more confident. I felt like they cared. I felt like they were excited I was there because they acted like I was excited I was there. They took their time to make sure I was comfortable. They made me feel comfortable with the fact that Zoe was going to be fine, so it went great. Over to the car. When I took my car in to get it checked in, I was immediately approached by a porter who came up and asked me who I was there to see. I told them. They said that my service advisor would be out in a few minutes. I was there on time, by the way. And over the next 10 minutes, I waited. 10 minutes for my check-in time, I waited. Now, as I waited for my advisor to come out and talk to me, 3 other non-busy advisors came over and told me my advisor would be with me soon. When my advisor finally came out, he shook my hand and said, thank you for coming in. He got in my vehicle, checked the mileage, turned on the key to see the check engine light. He then got out of the car and said he was going to walk around my vehicle and take some pictures of it, which he did as I stood there and watched. When he came back around, he said, I guess you're here for your tire. What exactly is going on? I told him it had a nail in it. I wanted to get it plugged, and he immediately told me the type of high-performance tire you have on the vehicle, it cannot be plugged. So you need to replace it. It's going to be $435. Now, I was shocked because I just assumed you could plug the tire because I'd plugged tires before. I was shocked because immediately I'm told I'm going to be looking at $435. But But I continued to listen to him, and he said the bad news is that he didn't have the tire in stock. The good news was he could get it there by noon, 1 o'clock, and I'd have my vehicle back by 3 o'clock. He said, and that only depended on what they found out with the check engine light. So after that, he asked me for my signature. He then pointed over to where the loaner car department was, because he said I did qualify for one. Pointed me over there, I went and got the loaner car, and I drove away. When I drove away, I didn't feel any emotional tie to the store. I didn't feel any emotional tie because he didn't make any attempts to build rapport, as they've never done the whole 10 years I've gone in there. There was just really in and out, and in and out, get some numbers, get his signature, get him out here, we got his car type of thing, and that's exactly how I felt. I mean, that's all it was. And as far as the walk around he didn't ask me to do it. He didn't go over it and check it out from an effort and a standpoint of, let's take a look at your car so it's safe and it's reliable and all that stuff. To me, I got the feeling that the only reason he walked around my car is for what he said, to take pictures, and that was to cover his ass so he didn't have to repair damage later, right? I mean, there was no emotional tie with this guy. Now, the thing here is that if you include the time I waited, because I was on time, you include the time I waited to get fully checked in, it was 21 minutes. All right, so let's talk about follow-up throughout the day. And before we get into the follow-up throughout the day, let me just take a second here and tell you about something that's coming up. On September 23rd and 24th, this month, I'm going to be in Las Vegas presenting my brand new Winning in Service workshop. It's a 2-day workshop. I'm going to be delivering content that I've never presented live before. It's new content based on the customer you have walking through your door right now. This is going to be done in Las Vegas at the Lightspeed VT sound stage and meeting room. It's a beautiful room. Everybody gets to sit that attends in a lazy boy. It's very limited seating, 60 seats. I think we've only got about 20 left, if I'm looking at the board here right, maybe a little less. 20 seats left. This is going to be a great event. I can tell you this, there's never been a workshop presented in the form and the way that I'm going to present this. If you can't get there live and get yourself signed up, we are streaming it per rooftop, so if you want to see it live, you can do that. If you do the streaming, here's what's cool. You don't only see it live if it's happening in front of this live audience over the 2 days, but you'll also get an opportunity, after we do that, we're going to record it, we're going to put it on the Lightspeed platform within a week of doing it, and you will get to watch it for the next 90 days. Everybody in your store, it's a great thing. You don't want to miss this. What I'm going to teach you in this workshop is how to handle this post-COVID customer, as I'm referring to them. I'm going to show you how to get our repair order above 2.5. I'm going to show you how to get perfect survey scores. And I said, yes, perfect survey scores. I'll show you how within 9 months to have your customer retention above 85%, how to get your effective labor rate, the 90, 92, 95% range immediately. You're going to have more production. You're going to be more efficient. You're going to be a way better service advisor and or manager, because I encourage managers, general managers, fixed operations directors, dealer principals, business owners to come to this thing, porters, greeters, anybody who might be a service advisor in the future, you want to come to this thing, and I'm going to show you how to eliminate heat cases forever. This is, if you're going to go to one event this year, and this is not on the strip, it's about 5 miles off the strip. If you're going to go to one event this year, this is the one to go to. If you can't get there, call us and get it streamed into your shop so everybody can watch it, not only that day, but for 3 months after that. This is going to be a big deal. In addition to that, I can tell you this, that I am going to Nashville, Indianapolis, and Chicago with my one-day version of the workshop. Those are nearly sold out. Call and get yourself signed up for those. And of course, if you want us to visit you at your dealership or your place of business, we will come to you and train your service advisors, train your entire service staff by standing side by side with them, coaching, critiquing, role-playing, writing service, or doing their jobs. We set up quick loops, business development center, man. We do it all. And nobody does it better than us, and nobody gets better results than we do. It is a fact. Check it out. How do you get signed up for this? You either go to automotiveservicetraining.com and get registered there, or get us signed up to come into your store, or you simply dial 1-800-248-2931, 1-800-248-2931, and anybody that picks up that phone can get you any of the products that we offer, because we offer a ton more that I'm talking about here. I mean, it's the real deal, folks. If you want to be the best, be the best. You don't want to be like these people that I'm telling you about in here. You want to be better than this, okay? Because now is the time to grab this customer. All right? And by the way, if you're wondering who's going to teach the workshops, it's going to be me. And I'm telling you, I've been rehearsing. I've been over to Lightspeed on their stage, getting used to it, the lighting and all that stuff. And I'm telling you, man, I am jacked up for these things. You will not regret coming to see me in a workshop. I know it sounds pretentious. I know it sounds like I'm full of myself, but I'm telling you, nobody's better at delivering this information, this content than I am, man. And I want to see you there. I want to meet you. I want to make you the best you can be. So we're talking about, comparing taking my dog in to the vet to get checked in, taking my car. You know what I mean? And so now we're at the point where we're going to follow up throughout the day. So what happens next? Well, just like was promised, within 2 hours and 45 minutes to be exact, my vet called. And they said they'd examined Zoe. And they said Zoe was doing great, but she did need her teeth cleaned, and she needed to have 3, not 1, but 3 teeth pulled. And they told me what else they wanted to do. They also wanted to do some shot, I guess it was vaccination. They told me that what the procedures were going to be. They told me what the total was going to be, which was over $1,000, including the medicines I needed to help her get better once I got her home, and the like. They then told me that she'd be all caught up, she'd be ready to go, and that they said that once she is done, they'd call me again in about 2 hours and tell me she was done, how she came through it, and when I could pick her up. And they did that. They went ahead and they did, because I signed off on everything. This is my best friend. Went around for as long as we can. She's going to be 13 years old here in 2 weeks, so I want her around as long as I can have her around, right? So they told me they'd call me in 2 hours, and guess what? In 2 hours they called me. They called me and said she came through the surgery like a champ. She was doing fine, and I could come and pick her up anytime after 5 o'clock, and expect the 5 o'clock pickup time to take 15 minutes or less. And during both those phone calls, by the way, they continued to build rapport, and they continued to reassure me that everything was going to be just fine. Let's go over to the dealership and the car. Well, remember, he told me that he'd get the tire in by noon, 1 o'clock, and he'd have it put on by 3 o'clock, and everything was going to be fine. He's getting my car back, and it all depended on what the gas cap was going to be. But he never called me. I was at the office, got lost in my day, wasn't paying attention, but I finally did get a text as I picked up my phone, as I started getting things ready to go home and work from there. I got a text at 4 o'clock. And what they told me was the tire had not arrived. It wouldn't arrive until tomorrow morning. That being the case, my vehicle would not be completed today, but would be completed sometime earlier in the day tomorrow. I could keep the loaner car overnight. He encouraged me to have a good day in the text, and he also told me that they checked out the check engine light and it was a loose gas cap. And again, he encouraged me to have a great night. The reading the text took 20 seconds. But again, no rapport, no talking to anybody, no nothing, and he's late. No apology, no nothing, just more bad service. And we see this stuff, and some of you watching this is what just really makes me mad, is some of you dealers, you fixed operations directors, you general managers, you service managers, and you advisors out the front line, you do this stuff and you think it's okay. I mean, I just don't get it. I mean, you want to sell more cars, and everybody gives lip service, world-class service, world-class service, world-class service, and it's just that, it's lip service. And it's so easy not to be this person, and so easy to be that person there is the vet. You want to sell more cars, sell more service. You want to sell more service, talk to your customers. I'll tell you why here in a minute. Let's get on to the pickup. Well, picking up Zoe was easy. Because I got there, I went over to the cashier. I paid my bill, and as I'm paying it, she was telling, before I paid it, as a matter of fact, she said, let me go through the list, everything that was done here today. Zoe came through this like a champ. We love having her around here. We love having you guys as our customers. And here's the bill, and I paid it. She said, have a seat over here. She asked if I had any questions. She instructed me to have a seat over there, that Zoe would be out in a few minutes. The vet tech brought Zoe out, handed her to me, again, went through everything. Here's what happened. Here's what's done. Here's the medicines you're going to take home. Here's how you're going to administer them. The next 24 to 48 hours might be a little bit groggy, the dog will, but she's going to be fine. She's a champ. We like you. You have come in, blah, blah, blah. I left, and they missed the pickup time. They said I'd be in and out in 15 minutes. It took 16. But when I left there, I had an emotional tie to these people. I felt like they cared not only about my pet, my best friend, but they cared about me because they built rapport. They let me talk. They explained things. They took their time. They didn't rush me. They kept their word. They set the expectations. And I felt like there was a big emotional attachment here. That's why I've gone to the same vet for years. And they've been that way since day one. And again, I just felt like they cared about me and my pet. I think that they did everything they could to make sure that she was going to be happy and live a long time. You know, I mean, I just loved it. But meanwhile, back to the advisor, at around, I think it was around 11 o'clock in the morning, 12 o'clock in the morning, I got a text saying, your car's done and you can come and pick it up anytime you like. And if you'll give me a 30 minutes heads up, I will get the car washed for you and have it pulled up and ready for when you get here, which I took him up on because I went to get the vehicle at the end of the day and I gave him a 30 minutes heads up. And I got there, and here's what happened. As soon as I arrived, a porter came out, took the keys to the loaner car, told me not to worry about it, and drove off, asked me to go in and have a seat with my advisor because he was at his desk. I walk in the door. He was at his desk. He said, hey, Mr. Cowan, have a seat right here. Here's the paperwork. I just need your signature on it. And the total bill was $237 because since the tire was only 6 months old, I don't know why, they were going to pick up all but $237 of the cost. And again, there was nothing for the check engine light because it was just a loose gas cap and they wouldn't charge me for that. So he asked if I had any questions. I said no. He asked for my signature, asked for my credit card. I paid it. And outside of asking if I had a great day, no attempt at building rapport was done. He simply, after he gave me my credit card back, he handed my keys and pointed out the window across the service drive and said my vehicle was sitting over there. So I got up and I walked out. I walked over to my vehicle and I found that I had a bonus. Yeah, bonus. Not only was it sitting there like he promised, but guess what it had as well? Spots. Spots all over the body of the car and spots all over the windows. Spots that weren't there when I brought it in clean in the morning, but they washed it, and apparently they washed it good, but they just didn't dry it and buff it out, I guess. And then I didn't expect them to buff it or wipe it down because there's spots all over it. So now I have to go get it washed. Now I could have gone back inside and had them rewash it, but I didn't want to spend the 30 minutes there. It's the end of the day. I just wanted to go home, so I just went ahead and started up the car and drove down the road. And now, by the way, up to that point, I've got 6 minutes invested in the whole thing. But as I'm driving down the road, I get 2 miles away from the dealership, and I get my check engine light comes back on. 3 miles down the dealership, I get it from the dealership. I get a text that looks like it was an automated text thanking me for coming in. That's it. That, my friends, is not crappy service. It's not bad service. It's just shitty, rude, bad, poor service. And what disgusts me about this is I know what those advisors make, and they're so overpaid for what they're delivering, it's not even funny. Because again, I keep going back to the rapport, I keep going back to the emotional attachment, because that's important. See, that's what's going to separate you from everybody else. You know, not one attempt, the whole time I was in there, not one attempt was made to give me any benefits of why that dealership was the place to come. He didn't even take the time to talk to me about the future services that I know I'm going to need, the regular routine maintenance I'm going to need to go back for in 3 months again. He didn't even talk about that. There's nothing. There's no emotional attachment. So what happens now is this is just another shop. So I start questioning, why am I really driving past literally 10 or 15 other places to go there? Because if there's no quality difference and the like, why wouldn't I just go to the closest place with the cheapest price? Now, that's the way customers think. Now, you might be asking, why would you keep going back to this place? They're like that because I drive, I call it a specialty car. It's an AMG Mercedes-Benz. And I've never, with AMGs, if you've never driven one, they're a high-performance car and they're very finicky. And you really don't want anybody but a certified AMG technician working on it. And the only ones here in the area work at the Mercedes dealership, or I wouldn't go there. Okay, I'm telling you, I wouldn't go there if it wasn't for that. I would be like everybody else, and I'd start thinking, no emotional attachment, no rapport, not great service, so why am I passing 15 people? It's not about quality anymore because there was no attempt to sell the quality. Again, repeating myself. So why wouldn't I just go to the cheapest, closest place and get it done there? And that's what most people do. That's why, as far as auto dealerships go, you're only at 29% customer retention because people go to these other places because they think they're going to be cheaper, and when they get there, it's then become about price because the service typically in the aftermarket at the independents and the chain stores are typically closer to what the vet delivers, if not exactly what the vet delivers, than what I got at my car dealership. You know, I just don't understand it. Why would you why would you take the time to find the land to build the dealership, spend hundreds of thousands, if not a few $1 million on the land to build the dealership on, spend another couple millions building the buildings, a few more million, putting everything on the inside like the lifts and the parts and all that stuff, and then inventory it with what's got to be a few $100 million of inventory, and then go to the trouble to hire the people to come in, and then stop a few $1,000s short of training your frontline people how to deliver the world-class service that this industry gives so much lip service to and nothing else. I've never understood it, and I never will. I never will. It's in your lap, dealers. It's in your lap, general manager. It's in your lap, factory. It's in your lap, fixed operations director. It's in your lap, service manager. And it's in your lap if you're a lazy service advisor and you get away with this. Now, so what's the problem here? You know, some people say, well, it's not fair comparing service advisors to vet techs. It's so hard to find service advisors and get them trained. Bullshit! The vets find these people and they pay them 2/3 of what a good service advisor would make. They get them trained and they deliver good service. So that falls on deaf ears. There are things, well, it's not fair comparing pets to cars. That's a crock too. Why? Because every survey I've seen, because I'm a survey freak, I love reading what people are thinking all the time. Every survey I've ever seen, when you ask a person, whether it's in the United States of America or Canada, I haven't seen many from Australia, but in the United States of America or Canada, number one on top of the list every single time is one's personal health, followed closely by number two, which is having a car that is safe, reliable, and economically sound. Pets come in somewhere between 5th and 6th, depending on the survey that you're reading. So I don't even think that's fair. All right? Here's what I think is happening, though. And I've harped on this before. Now, again, I'm going to say it. You're never going to find a bigger fan of technology than you're seeing right here. But here's what's happened. You know, the average dealership out there invests about $13,500 per month per rooftop in all these software programs and technology and all this stuff. And over the past decade, billions have been spent by the manufacturers, combined by the manufacturers, the various vendors and stuff, for all this technology. Okay? And all this technology has done is your numbers have gone lower and lower and lower and lower and lower and lower and lower, but we keep buying more of it. You know why? Because these people that sell this technology, they come in and they show you graphs and charts and all these cute little things that show you what customers really want. But I'm here to tell you, I can give you 35 years of hardcore proof of standing on service drive side by side with advisors, coaching, critiquing, role-playing, and writing service with them, and talking to real customers, that those graphs and those things, they're wrong. What people want is they want somebody that's going to interact with them, somebody that's going to talk to them, somebody that's going to listen to their story, somebody that's going to make them feel comfortable about leaving the car, explain the value, and explain what's being done and why it's being done and why they're being asked to spend the money in the first place. You're in face-to-face human interaction business. There's no other way to say it. And the more you interact with your customers, the better. Does it mean you need to get rid of the technology? No. But if you're going to have it, spend a few extra $1,000 and show your people how to use it the right way. Steve Jobs, the one who's invented most of this technology that most of these things are based on today, one way or another, in his biography, they asked him, they said, so how long do you think it's going to be before the technology you're developing completely eliminates the need for human interaction, face-to-face contact? And he said, oh, I think we're hundreds of years away. Hundreds of years away. They said, how so? He says, I'm not inventing all this technology to replace human interaction. I'm developing all this technology to enhance human interaction. And so this technology you have in your dealerships, I'm all for it. I love multi-point inspections. I love texting. I love emailing. I love online reservations. I like all that stuff if it's used right. But these people that are selling it to you have convinced you that you need it to replace your people. And you're living in a society right now where 87% of every sale that's made in the world, 87% of any sale on any given day that's made in the world still requires face-to-face, voice-to-voice human interaction. I mean, surely you heard the news that here in the last few weeks that Amazon has announced that they're going into the malls and they're going to start opening Amazon stores, Amazon clothing for men, Amazon clothing for women, Amazon furniture, Amazon household goods. And the stocks for the malls have shot through the roof because the malls are coming back. And I told you they would. Why is Amazon doing this? Because Amazon knows that when you sell something online, you're only going to sell what the person gets online to get. But if you want to sell a lot of product and you have people come back, you have to have human interaction. It's history repeating itself. Look at the article I did in the podcast I did when I compared Sears and their history to what's going on in the automotive industry and Amazon. I mean, that's what it's about. And the sooner you wake up and get off your butts and you stop giving lip service and trying to find the easiest way to do your job, but instead start focusing on the best way to do your job, which would include interacting with your customers so you can deliver true world-class service and make them feel comfortable and make them feel like you care and make them feel like they want to come back and make them feel like that you give a crap and they want to come back and buy cars. As soon as you realize that it's the human interaction and start training your people to do that, the more profitable you're going to be. Because just like I said when I started this, over 80% of the people deliver crap service like this because they've been led down the wrong path and they're lazy. That means nearly 20% of you are doing it the right way. And if you want to call me, I will take you and show you dealerships and give you people to call who understand, who are smart enough to understand that this isn't a lazy job, that this is a job that has to be thought out. It's a job that requires human interaction, and they do that and they implement processes that promote that and then hold their people accountable to doing it. When you compare their their key KPIs and their profits and everything that goes with it with yours, you're going to see they're doing it the right way. And by the way, if you're wondering through all this how Zoe came out, she's doing great. She's doing great. Her teeth are good. They're bright white. She's happy. I'm happy. And the vet told me that this breed is an Italian Greyhound that usually lives to be about 13, 14 years old. There's no reason why Zoe shouldn't live to be 15, 16, 17 because she's healthy, she's happy, she's loved. And they're right on that because we do all that stuff. But I also know that she has a partner in this that cares, and that's my vet. Antonio Pet Hospital, Rancho, Santa Margarita. I mean, I'm telling you, the best in the business. They really, really are. What's crazy about that is when I first started going to that vet, by the way, there was only one vet working there. I think with 3 techs today, there's 4 vets working in that building, and I don't know how many techs. I mean, they've grown their business simply because they've done it the right way. They know that it's not just serving the pet, it's serving the pet owner. And as soon as you kind of realize the same thing, it's not about repairing the vehicle, it's about repairing the vehicle owner as well, interact with them, you're going to be off the charts. So I'm sorry if I sound like I was bitching today, but it just, it just gets old. What's crazy about this, when I first started this 35 years ago, you know what my biggest worry was? Is training myself out of a job. I was so arrogant, I was convinced that everybody would jump all over this and everybody would be doing perfect service within 10 years and I'd have to go off someplace else. I can tell you this, I've been in this for 35 years and I know that my job is safe for another 35 years. It just is. So anyway, my name's Jeff Cowan. I have a company called Jeff Cowan's Pro Talk where we've trained more successful service advisors than anybody else. We've got all kinds of stuff to help you out. We've got workshops, we've got in-store training, we've got online training, we've got coaching, we got it all, man. And nobody does it better than us, and nobody gets better numbers than us, and nobody helps you sustain those numbers better than us. I mean, if you're tired of jacking around with it and you want to be the best, whether you're an individual, you're a service manager, fixed operations director, business owner, whatever it is, you want to be the best. You're tired of sucking. Being one of those 80% that do, give us a call, 1-800-248-2931. We will get you turned around like that. Hey, so with that, again, my name is Jeff Cowan. I have a company called Jeff Cowan's Pro Talk, and on behalf of my immediate family, including Zoe and my Pro Talk family, thank you very much for watching here today. God bless you all. You make it a great week, and I'll be back next week with another great podcast. So with that, have a great day, my friends.